My feet drag across the hallway carpet of my apartment building as I fumble for my keys. After a 12-hour double shift at Westfield Grill, my back aches, my chef's whites reek of fryer oil, and all I want is the silence of my empty apartment. But the sound of laughter and clinking glasses hits my ears before I even slide the key into the lock. I freeze, key suspended. Someone's in my apartment. The lock clicks open, and I push the door wide. My stomach plummets. 6 strangers sprawl across my living room furniture, drinks in hand. Music thumps from my small Bluetooth speaker. And through the open concept layout, I spot my kitchen, my sanctuary completely destroyed. Daphne! Lillian's voice cuts through the chaos. My younger sister bounces toward me, wine glass sloshing dangerously close to the rim. You're home early. Early? It's nearly midnight. I move past her without a word, drawn to the disaster zone that was once my meticulously organized kitchen. Wine bottles litter the countertops. Someone has used my hand-forged Japanese santoku knife to cut limes on the marble surface, leaving deep gouges in the blade. My cast-iron skillet, the one I've seasoned for 3 years, sits in the sink, submerged in soapy water. What have you done? My voice comes out as a whisper. We're just having a little fun, Daph. Lillian waves dismissively. Don't be so uptight. That's when I spot it. Grandma Miller's handwritten recipe book lies open on the counter, pages warped and stained dark red with wine. The ink bleeds across recipes passed down 3 generations, turning them into abstract watercolors. I touch the sodden pages with trembling fingers. This can't be fixed. The memory rises unbidden, Mom and Dad standing in this very kitchen 6 months ago, insisting I give them a spare key for emergencies only. I'd hesitated, but their hurt expressions wore me down. We're family, Daphne, Dad had said. Don't you trust us? 3 weeks later, I came home from a late shift to find Lillian asleep on my couch, empty wine bottles on my coffee table. My roommate had company, she'd explained with a yawn. I needed somewhere to crash. Then it became a pattern. Lillian dropping by whenever I worked nights. My specialty ingredients imported vanilla beans, saffron threads, aged balsamic, disappearing without replacement. My kitchen gradually becoming community property. Last month, I'd confronted my parents after finding evidence of another impromptu gathering. Dad's dismissive attitude still stings. That kitchen belongs to family too, Daphne. Don't be so selfish. Mom had nodded in agreement. Lillian's just social, dear. You could learn from her. Always the responsible one. Always expected to give in. Always watching Lillian get away with anything while I built my life careful brick by careful brick. A crash yanks me back to the present. Someone has knocked over a stack of copper measuring cups. They roll across the floor like dropped coins. Everyone out! My voice cuts through the chatter. Now. The strangers look at me, then at Lillian, unsure. It's only 11 p.m., Lillian exclaims with theatrical shock. God, you're such a buzzkill. This is my home. My hands tremble, but my voice holds steady. My kitchen. My things that you've destroyed. Oh please, it's hardly destroyed. Out. Lillian's friends gather their belongings, muttering as they file past me. One guy tries to take a half-full wine bottle. I snatch it from his hand without a word. You're overreacting. Lillian pulls out her phone. I'm calling Mom and Dad. For a second, old habits threaten to surface. The urge to back down, to apologize, to keep the peace. Then my gaze falls on my chef's knife sitting in a puddle of something sticky. The handle is cracked, the knife Chef Thomas gave me when I graduated culinary school. A cook's knife is her voice in the kitchen, he'd said. Something inside me hardens. Go ahead, call them. I pick up the ruined knife, turning it in the light. But when you're done, you're leaving too. Lillian's eyes widen. She's never seen this version of me before, the one who doesn't bend, the one who doesn't make excuses for her. The stranger who finally sees through the lifetime of manipulation. You can't kick me out. I'm your sister. Watch me. I push her outside and slam the door. Have you ever had that moment when something inside you just snaps? When you realize you've been taken advantage of for far too long? The moment you finally understand that the people who should love you the most have been using that love as a weapon against you? I was about to find out what happens when you finally stand your ground. A week after the incident, I was invited to my parents' house for dinner. My aunt was there as well, carefully watching the situation unfolding. The scent of pot roast hits me the moment I step into my parents' suburban home for Sunday dinner. Mom's been making the same meal on rotation for 20 years. Pot roast means she wants something. Daphne. Just in time, Dad's voice booms from the dining room where crystal and glasses already sparkle with wine. His car dealership smile is in full force, the one that appears when he's about to pitch a customer the extended warranty. Mom bustles from the kitchen, wiping hands on her floral apron. There you are, honey. Lillian's been here for an hour already. Of course she has. Lillian lounges at the table, scrolling through her phone, not bothering to look up. Hey, Daff, she murmurs, one finger still swiping. I take my assigned seat, same chair since I was 12, and notice the thick manila folder placed conspicuously next to Dad's water glass. Red flag. So, Dad begins, before I've even unfolded my napkin, we've been talking about a business opportunity. Mom practically vibrates with excitement as she serves the pot roast. Richard, let her eat first. No time like the present, Eleanor. He leans forward, elbows on the table. Daphne, you know how you've always wanted to work in a real restaurant? I set down my fork. I do work in a real restaurant. Dad waves this away. A line cook job isn't what I mean. We're talking about something you can build, a legacy. Lillian finally looks up, a strange smile playing at her lips. Dad slides the manila folder toward me. We've been exploring options for you to legally register a small restaurant. For me? For me? Something cold settles in my stomach. For the family, Mom corrects, taking her seat. Your culinary expertise combined with Lillian's business acumen. Dad beams. Exactly. You handle the kitchen, and Lillian will be the manager and face of the operation. She'll handle the customers, marketing, all that front-of-house business. I never said I wanted. You're good at cooking, Dad interrupts, but managing is Lillian's strength. This way, it's fair. Fair. The word lands like a slap. I open the folder and freeze. Inside are printed real estate listings with Dad's handwriting in the margins. Available immediately, good foot traffic, reasonable lease terms. You've been looking at locations? The pot roast congeals on my plate untouched. Just preliminary research, Mom says. Nothing definite yet. Lillian slides her phone across the table. Check out my Pinterest board. I've been collecting ideas for months. The screen shows a board titled, Our Restaurant, with hundreds of pins. The oldest dates back 4 months. My fingers go numb as I scroll through images of restaurant interiors, menu designs, and staff uniforms all chosen without a single conversation with me. There's more, Dad says, pulling another paper from the folder. We've started the loan application process. Just need your signature since you're the one with the culinary background. My signature, my credit, my responsibility if it fails. But not my vision. We've told everyone at church, Mom adds, refilling wine glasses. The whole family is so excited about the girls' restaurant venture. When exactly were you planning to ask if I wanted this? My voice comes out quieter than intended. Dad's eyebrows rise. This is how family businesses work, Daphne. We all have our roles. You cook excellent food, and Lillian handles the business end. Don't you want us to be close again? Lillian asks, voice honey-sweet. Like when we were kids? Remember how we used to play restaurant with your easy-bake oven? The memory twists in my chest. What she doesn't mention is how she always made me cook while she collected the Monopoly money from our stuffed animal customers. I need some air. I push back from the table and step onto the back porch, the cool evening air a relief against my flushed skin. The sliding door opens behind me. Not Mom or Dad's heavy steps, but the lighter tread of Aunt Margaret, Mom's sister. She was quiet during the gathering, but I suppose she has another plan. I figured this might happen tonight, she says, joining me at the railing. They've been talking about nothing else for weeks. Did everyone know about this except me? Aunt Margaret sighs. They've always done this to you. Used your talents while giving Lillian the spotlight. I turn to her, surprised. What do you mean? Your mother did the same thing to me when we were young. She touches my arm. I designed all her prom dresses, but she told everyone she made them herself. The parallel lands hard. I don't know what to do. Your talent is yours alone, Daphne. Don't let them convince you otherwise. She squeezes my hand. And if you need a place to stay for a while, my guest room is yours. A place to stay? Why would I? The sliding door opens again. Dad stands there, backlit by the dining room light. We're waiting on you to continue our discussion, Daphne. Back inside, they've cleared dinner plates. The loan application sits squarely at my place setting, a pen resting on top. Your mother and I co-signed your lease, honey. Dad says casually as I sit. Remember that. The threat isn't even thinly veiled. Mom pats my hand. Your schedule at the restaurant would allow you to handle the kitchen while Lillian takes the important client meetings. The investors are expecting to meet both Miller sisters next week, Lillian adds. I've already confirmed. I look around the table at these familiar faces now revealed as strangers. They've planned my entire future without a single question about what I want. The weight of their expectations crushes against my chest. I need time to think about this. I stand, gathering my purse. Don't overthink it, Dad says. This is what families do: support each other. Support. As if this elaborate scheme to harness my culinary skills for Lillian's benefit could be called support. Aunt Margaret catches my eye across the table. Her slight nod steadies me. Family can be our greatest support, or our heaviest burden. As I drive home, the loan application untouched in the back seat, I wonder, how many others have sat at their family table and realized the price of belonging was surrendering their dreams. 2 days after the ambush, my phone buzzed for the 5th time this morning. Dad again. I let it ring until voicemail picks up, knowing exactly what he wants to discuss. Restaurant details. That's what they're calling their plan to use my culinary school credentials while giving Lillian the spotlight. A text follows immediately. Daphne, your mother found the perfect location on Adams Avenue. Meeting the realtor at 2. Be there. Not a request, a command. As if I've already agreed to this entire scheme. The buzzing continues all morning. Mom calls about recipe modifications to make them more commercial, dear. Lillian texts about potential investors she's bringing by my apartment tomorrow, without asking. Again. I'm chopping onions for my dinner prep when Mrs. Henderson from church calls. Just wanted to congratulate you on the restaurant. Your father announced it during fellowship hour. So proud of you girls finally working together. My knife slips, nearly catching my finger. He announced it? Oh yes, dear. His girls opening a restaurant. The whole congregation is thrilled. Lillian even showed everyone some logo designs on her phone. Your name was on them too. The world tilts sideways. I thank her automatically and hang up, my hands shaking so badly I have to put the knife down. They're creating a reality I never agreed to, building walls around me brick by brick until I have no choice but to surrender. Later that evening, my phone rings with an unfamiliar number. I almost ignore it, assuming it's another family friend calling to congratulate me, but something makes me answer. Is this Daphne Miller? A woman's crisp voice, professionally warm. Yes, speaking. This is Valerie Chambers, executive assistant to Chef Thomas Anderson at Ember. We received your resume last month. Chef Anderson would like to interview you tomorrow morning if you're available. My heart stutters. Ember is the prestigious new restaurant opening downtown. I'd sent my resume on a whim last month, never expecting a call back. Yes, absolutely yes. The Ember kitchen gleams with purpose the next morning. No clutter, no chaos, just the quiet precision of professional chefs preparing for service. Chef Anderson is tall and serious, his eyes missing nothing as I prepare my signature scallop dish during the working interview. He watches without comment until I plate, then takes a single bite. His expression remains neutral, but something shifts in his eyes. Your flavor profiles are extraordinary, Daphne. The validation feels foreign, almost uncomfortable. No comparison to Lillian. No dismissal of my career as just cooking. Just recognition of what I can do. I need a head chef. Someone with your technical skills and palate. He leans against the counter. Creative control of the menu. Your name featured prominently. Proper salary and benefits. I stand paralyzed, unable to process what I'm hearing. But there must be more qualified chefs in San Diego. I've interviewed 12. None understand balance like you do. He slides a contract across the counter. Take the weekend to think about it. When I return to my apartment, Lillian is waiting outside my door with a large portfolio tucked under her arm. She doesn't wait for an invitation, breezing past me as I unlock the door. Finally! I've been waiting forever. She spreads fabric swatches across my coffee table. These are for the banquets. I'm thinking the burgundy velvet, but Mom likes the charcoal. I set my keys down carefully. Lillian, when did I ever say yes to any of this? She doesn't even look up. We have meetings with 3 banks next week for the small business loans. Dad says your credit score will help with the terms. Lillian, stop. My voice carries an edge I've never used with her before. I haven't agreed to open a restaurant with you. She finally glances up, blinking in genuine confusion. We've been planning this for months. You've been planning. I've been avoiding the conversation. She rolls her eyes dramatically. Oh, please. Like you had better options. Being a line cook forever? This is your chance to actually be somebody. The truth hits me like cold water. They never believed in my talent or ambition. They never saw me capable of success, without Lillian's charisma or Dad's business connections. I interviewed at Ember today. They offered me head chef position. Lillian's laugh is sharp. Right. And I'm opening for Taylor Swift next week. I pull out my phone, showing her Chef Anderson's follow-up email with salary details. Her face falls as she reads, color draining from her cheeks. But, our restaurant. But, your restaurant, I correct her. On my credentials, with my liability if it fails. That evening, Aunt Margaret calls. I heard from your mother that you're being difficult about the restaurant. I brace for more pressure. Instead, she says, good for you. I know a small business attorney who can help you formally decline involvement. My treat. The floodgates open. I tell her everything, the exploitation, the assumptions, Chef Anderson's offer. Your father pulled the same stunt with your mother 30 years ago. She reveals. Used her nursing license to open his first dealership while giving her no real authority, history repeating itself. The next day, my culinary school mentor calls. I heard you might be settling for less than you deserve. Any truth to that? Word travels fast in professional kitchens. When I explain the situation to my coworkers during prep, they close ranks around me with protective fury. The headline cook offers his brother's services to change my locks. The pastry chef invites me to stay at her place if things get ugly. For the first time, I see an alternative family forming around me, one that values what I bring to the table instead of what they can take from it. That night, alone in my kitchen, I cook. Not for others, not for approval, just for the pure chemistry of it. As the flavors build and transform, understanding washes over me. My kitchen was never just about food. It was about control in a life where I had so little, the one space where my decisions mattered. The next morning, I call the locksmith. By afternoon, new keys sit heavy and powerful in my palm. Then I dial Chef Anderson's number. I'd like to accept your offer. The certainty in my voice surprises even me. For once, I'm making a decision solely for myself. The week blurs as I sign my contract, quietly retrieve personal items from my parents' house, and work with Aunt Margaret's lawyer to draft a simple statement declining family business involvement. We prepare responses for every manipulation tactic they might employ at the family meeting they've scheduled for Tuesday next week, the meeting where they expect me to finalize my agreement to their plan. On Monday, my phone constantly buzzes with excited messages. From Dad, proud of you, kiddo. Signed the lease today. Big announcement tomorrow. Mom leaves a voicemail about the invitation list for a soft opening. Lillian sends a group text to her friends about my sister and I finally making our dream come true. I place the signed Ember contract carefully in my bag. The weight of the paper feels like armor. My reflection in the hallway mirror shows someone I barely recognize, someone with quiet strength in her eyes, as she grabs her car keys and heads to her parents' house. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. Have you ever had to make a decision that you knew would disappoint your family but was necessary for your own well-being? Share your experience below. The next day, at the Tuesday meeting, the incorporation papers sit in the center of my parents' oak dining table like a trap waiting for spring. Around me, excited chatter bounces off walls that have witnessed 35 years of Miller family manipulation. My father beams. My mother clasps her hands in delight. Lillian tosses her hair, accepting congratulations for a restaurant she hasn't earned. The contractor says we can start renovations next week. Dad announces, slapping his palm against blueprints I've never seen. Your mother's church friends are already booking the private room for their gatherings. I sit perfectly still, hands folded in my lap, watching them orchestrate my future without my input. The graphic designer, some college friend of Lillian's, flips open his laptop. Here's the final logo. He turns the screen toward me. Lillian's dominates an elegant script. Beneath it, in text barely larger than fine print, Kitchen by Daphne. The room falls quiet, all eyes turning to me for the expected grateful tears. Just need your signature, honey. Dad slides the incorporation papers toward me, his Mont Blanc pen extended like a scepter. Then we can celebrate properly. I look at the pen, then at each family member's expectant face. I won't be part of this, I say, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. I've already accepted a position as head chef at Ember last week. The silence that follows feels like the moment after glass shatters. This is just a phase. My father recovers first, dismissing my career as he's done my entire life. Head chef at someone else's restaurant is nothing compared to owning your own. My mother's eyes immediately fill with tears. After all we've done for you. She presses a tissue to her face, a performance I've seen countless times. Lillian stands so quickly her chair scrapes against hardwood. You're just jealous it wasn't your idea. Her voice pitches higher with each word. We've already invested so much. You can't back out now. Dad pulls out his phone. I'm calling Uncle Robert. He needs to hear how you're abandoning your sister's dream at the last minute. I watch him dial with theatrical outrage. In my pocket, my phone vibrates. Glancing down, I see Lillian's vague Instagram post already accumulating sympathetic comments. Family can break your heart when you least expect it. The coordinated attack unfolds exactly as I predicted. My father's voice rises as he recounts my betrayal to extended family. My mother steps into the kitchen, no doubt texting her church friends about her selfish daughter. The familiar weight of family shame presses down, except this time, it doesn't crush me. The front door opens, and Aunt Margaret strides in without knocking. I figured you might need backup, she says, squeezing my shoulder before addressing the room. Have any of you even tasted Daphne's food lately? She's brilliant. My phone buzzes again. A text from Chef Anderson. Team's excited to have you on board Monday. Below it, notifications from culinary school classmates commenting on my LinkedIn update about the new position. I've already signed a contract. I explain calmly, drawing the document from my bag, which means I can't legally enter another business arrangement that would create a conflict of interest. Dad's face reddens, but the lease is in your name, I finish for him. As is the loan application. As are all the commitments you've made without my consent. Lillian steps toward me, mascara smudging beneath her eyes. What am I supposed to do now? I stand, gathering my belongings. That's not my problem to solve. But you were always the responsible one we could count on, my mother blurts, then immediately looks down. My father runs a hand through his thinning hair. Lillian's not equipped to handle this alone. I need your name on this to get the loans. Lillian's voice cracks, finally revealing the truth. Not a partner, a guarantor, not a chef collateral. The realization settles over me with strange clarity. They never wanted my talent or input, just my signature and my labor. I've spent my entire life being responsible for Lillian's dreams while putting mine aside. I say, rising from the table. That ends today. Aunt Margaret wraps an arm around my shoulders as we walk toward the door. You can't walk away from family, my father calls after me, his voice smaller than I've ever heard it. I turn back one last time. I'm not walking away from family. I'm walking toward self-respect. Outside, the evening air feels clean against my face. My hands should be shaking, but they're surprisingly steady. Aunt Margaret gives me a sideways glance as we reach my car. That moment when you finally stand up for yourself can be both terrifying and liberating, she says quietly. Was it worth it? I look back at the house where I've spent decades diminishing myself to fit their expectations. Through the window, I can see them still sitting at the table, the abandoned papers between them. Every second, I answer, and mean it. The doorbell rings at exactly 7 o'clock Sunday evening. I've been expecting them. Through the peephole, I see my father standing rigidly in the hallway, my mother nervously smoothing her cardigan. Behind them, Lillian dabs at red-rimmed eyes with a tissue. The surprise is Grandma Miller, leaning on her wooden cane, looking confused. A calculated ambush. Bringing Grandma was their nuclear option. I open the door, my face carefully neutral. This is unexpected. We need to talk about what you're doing to this family, my father says, his car salesman voice already activated. Your grandmother insisted on coming when she heard how upset Lillian's been. Grandma reaches for my hand. I don't understand what's happening, Daphne. Everyone's so upset. Please, come in. I step aside, allowing them into my apartment. The space looks different now, rearranged, reclaimed. Security cameras discreetly mounted in corners. New locks gleaming on the door. My mother notices immediately. You changed the locks? I did. I guide Grandma to the most comfortable chair. I have something prepared. Please, sit down. My kitchen island holds an array of small plates, 5 distinct dishes arranged with professional precision. Each represents a component of the tasting menu I've developed for my position as head chef. What's all this? My father waves dismissively at the food. My work. Please, try it. Lillian remains standing, arms crossed. We didn't come here to eat, Daphne. We came because you've ruined everything I've worked for. Her voice cracks on cue. The investors pulled out when they learned you wouldn't be involved. My father steps closer. Your mother and I co-signed your lease. Remember that. The threat hangs in the air between us. Sit down, I say again, pulling out stools. Or leave. Those are your options. Something in my voice, perhaps the complete absence of apology, makes them hesitate. They exchange glances before slowly taking seats around my kitchen island. I move through my kitchen with practiced efficiency, plating the final touches on each dish. The space feels different, now sacred. Mine. I serve each person, describing the components with professional detachment. Seared scallop with brown butter and sage, wild mushroom risotto with truffle oil, braised short rib with red wine reduction. Grandma Miller takes a bite of the scallop. Her eyes widen, then close in appreciation. This is extraordinary, Daphne. My mother picks at her food. It's very nice, dear, but we need to discuss. I'm not finished. I retrieve a folder from the counter and open it between us. I have been gathering pieces of proof against my family for a long time. Security camera footage from the past 3 months. 27 unauthorized entries to my apartment while I was working. I slide printed stills across the counter. Lillian's parties. Kitchen destruction. My personal property damaged. My father pushes the photos away. Family doesn't need permission. Text messages. I place my phone between us, scrolling through Lillian's texts to friends. Using my sister's fancy apartment again tonight. She's working till midnight. Their faces change as I continue. Loan applications with forged signatures. My signature. That's fraud, Dad. I place the paperwork before him. A statement from my apartment manager about noise complaints during my absence. The kitchen falls silent except for Grandma, who continues eating, making small sounds of pleasure. You never saw me as a person with dreams, I say, my voice steady despite the heat rising in my chest, just as a useful tool for Lillian's ambitions. A signature on paperwork, free labor, a kitchen to use when convenient. I remove my house key from the ring and place it on the counter. No more emergencies, no more unannounced visits. My boundaries are non-negotiable from this point forward. Respect them or don't be in my life. That's your choice. My father sits stunned into silence for perhaps the first time in his life. My mother stares at me like she's seeing a stranger. You've always been the favorite anyway. Lillian suddenly bursts out, mascara streaming down her cheeks. They've always bragged about your cooking while I couldn't find my thing. That's not true, Lillian, my mother starts, but Grandma's voice cuts through. It's about time someone told them the truth. Grandma sets down her fork with a decisive clink. Richard, Eleanor, you've used this girl shamelessly for years. I've watched it happen. My parents exchange panicked glances. This wasn't in their script. We should go, my father mumbles, standing abruptly. My mother follows, tugging at Lillian's arm. I'm staying a while, Grandma announces. Daphne and I have catching up to do. They leave in disarray, the door clicking shut behind them. The apartment feels lighter somehow, as if their departure has altered the air pressure. Grandma reaches for my hand across the counter. Your grandfather would be so proud. He never let anyone take his work for granted either. She opens her large purse and unwraps something from layers of cloth. A chef's knife with a well-worn wooden handle gleams in the kitchen light. His favorite. I've been saving it. She places it in my hands. For the right moment. For the right Miller. The knife feels perfectly balanced, its edge still keen after decades. A proper tool passed to hands that would honor it. Thank you, I whisper, running my finger along the spine. Family patterns can be broken with courage, Grandma says, lifting her glass in a toast. And sometimes the greatest act of love is setting a boundary that everyone must respect. 6 months later, I slide the tray of sage-crusted lamb chops into the oven, checking the time. 2 hours until service begins at Anderson's, but the kitchen already hums with precision. My sous chef finishes the sauce reduction exactly as I need it. My standards have elevated this kitchen, and they rise to meet me. Chef Miller, that writer from San Diego Cuisine is here again. Marcus calls, wiping his hands on his apron. Said your autumn tasting menu deserves another feature. 4 months as head chef, and already the locals know my name. Not because I'm Richard Miller's daughter or Lillian's sister, but because my food speaks its own language. Customers specifically request Chef Miller's special, and my team executes my vision without question. The quiet satisfaction feels nothing like the approval I once chased from my family. 6 months after standing my ground, I find myself in another kitchen entirely teaching an evening class at my old culinary school. A student struggles with the emulsion technique I once fumbled under my father's impatient watch. Take your time, I tell her, demonstrating the gentle wrist motion again. Rushing only breaks the sauce. Watching her succeed where I once failed, something clicks into place. I've broken more than just an old family pattern. I've created space for others to learn without shame. The realization warms me more than any family praise ever did. Sunday dinners still happen, but on my terms. Last week, my father actually nodded when I mentioned the local restaurant award. Saw that in the paper, he said, something like respect in his voice for the first time. My mother surprised me, asking about my signature techniques without once mentioning how Lillian might improve them. Small steps, but progress. You showed them who you really are, Aunt Margaret whispered before leaving. That's the hardest battle anyone fights. The text from Lillian comes unexpectedly one Tuesday morning. I was wrong for using you. I want to start fresh. We meet at a coffee shop downtown, no parents buffering the space between us. Her hands fidget with her napkin. I've been riding your coattails my whole life, she admits, eyes finally meeting mine. It was easier than finding my own way. She shows me her acceptance letter to a hospitality management program, then mentions her junior manager position at a small bistro. It's entry level, but it's mine. Esther. The gathering in my apartment weeks later feels nothing like the invasion that started everything. Colleagues mingle with Aunt Margaret while my grandmother samples each appetizer with deliberate appreciation. When Lillian arrives, her homemade crostini looks lopsided but earnest. The texture's close, I say, showing her how to adjust the bread thickness. The same kitchen, completely different energy. My parents' call before visiting now a small victory that feels monumental. Lillian asks for advice instead of assuming entitlement. Cooking in my reclaimed sanctuary brings a peace I never knew possible. Sometimes you have to fight for your space to help others find theirs. I tell a young line cook facing similar pressure from her family. My story becomes her permission to set boundaries. Plans for my own small restaurant take shape on paper, truly mine this time. Lillian offers genuine support without assuming involvement. We've found our separate paths, linked by newfound respect. Late tonight, I experiment with a new recipe, my movements confident in the kitchen that nearly cost me everything. Grandmother's knife gleams under the pendant light, a symbol of true legacy. My phone lights up with Lillian's text. Got the promotion. Thanks for showing me how to stand on my own. I smile, realizing the truth. The recipe for family healing requires the hardest ingredient of all, truth. But once added, everything else falls perfectly into place.
I'm reviewing my monthly expenses when Mom's name lights up my phone screen. Unusual for a Tuesday afternoon. My stomach tightens. Mom's surprise calls typically mean someone needs something, usually money. Laura, we've got such exciting news for Chloe's graduation gift. Her voice bubbles through the speaker, bright and eager. I smile despite myself. For all our differences, I still crave these moments of family connection. That's great, Mom. What are you thinking? We've booked her a 20-day tour of Japan. The premium package with private guides, traditional accommodations, see everything she's been dreaming about since her Japanese culture class last year. My smile widens. Chloe's worked hard for her degree, unlike my practical business major that our parents merely tolerated. That sounds amazing. She'll love it. Oh, she's beyond thrilled. The itinerary covers Tokyo, Kyoto, and even those rural hot springs she's been talking about. Mom pauses, and something in that brief silence makes my fingers still on the keyboard. And don't worry about the cost, we just put it on your emergency card. My blood turns to ice. What did you say? Your emergency card? Mom repeats as if explaining something obvious. You know, the one you gave us for emergencies? Don't worry, the travel agent gave us quite a deal. My trembling fingers open my banking app. The password takes 3 attempts as Mom chatters on about Chloe's itinerary. There it is, $18,000 to premium travel experiences. Processed yesterday. Mom, what did you just say? $18,000 on my card. My voice rose sharply, cutting through her detailed description of traditional tea ceremonies. Oh, honey, don't be dramatic. We're family. We help each other. Her tone shifts to the one she uses when I'm being difficult. Chloe deserves this experience after her hard work. And you make good money. That card was for actual emergencies like if dad needed another hospital visit or your car broke down, not luxury vacations. I press my palm against my forehead, trying to steady my thoughts. Do you understand what this will do to my credit utilization? I can't just absorb an $18,000 charge. Mom scoffs. Oh, please, with your fancy finance degree and all those spreadsheets. You've always been the responsible one, Laura. Can't you just be happy for your sister? They're shuffling on the other end. Then Chloe's voice fills my ear, breathless with excitement. Thank you so much for funding my dream trip, sis. I'll send tons of pictures from the bamboo forest. You know how I've always wanted to see it in person. My apartment suddenly feels too small, the air too thick. I stand up, pacing between my desk and the window overlooking bustling Manhattan streets. My gaze falls on the family photo displayed on my bookshelf Christmas 3 years ago. Mom and Dad beaming between Chloe and me. It looks like a lie now. I remember my own graduation dinner at Olive Garden, where Dad complained about the prices, a card with $50, and their rushed departure because traffic would be terrible. I'd worked double shifts through college while Chloe got a fully funded experience complete with a study abroad semester. They never mentioned help her finance. Now I know why. Laura, are you still there? Mom's voice interrupts my thoughts. You're making too much of this. It's just money. Something snaps inside me. The weight of years being the family ATM crystallizes into sharp clarity. This is theft, Mom. What you did is illegal. My voice sounds different, steady, and strong. The silence on the other end stretches, heavy and absolute. I can't believe you'd use that word with family. Mom's tone shifts from casual to cold. After everything we've done for you, cancel the trip. Now, or I'm calling the bank to report fraud. Each word feels like setting down a heavy object I've been carrying too long. You wouldn't dare. The threat in her voice is clear, but for once it doesn't work. Try me. I end the call. My phone buzzes almost immediately with a text from Chloe. How could you ruin this for me? You've always been jealous. I stare at the screen, a strange calm settling over me. For years I've been the responsible one, the reliable one, the family safety net. I helped with bills, covered emergencies, bought birthday gifts beyond my budget, because family takes care of family. But now I see the truth. Taking care of family was always meant to flow one way toward them, never back to me. What would you do if your family stole $18,000 from you for a luxury vacation? My next move will shatter my family's comfortable expectations forever. And what I'm about to discover about their financial abuse goes deeper than I ever imagined. The yellow legal pad sits before me on my kitchen table, neat lines waiting for purpose. Outside, Manhattan continues its relentless Wednesday morning hum, but in here, I'm building a fortress. I write action items at the top of the page and underline it twice. Something about seeing the words in my own handwriting steadies my hands. I've always found clarity in lists when emotions threaten to overwhelm logic. My phone sits beside me, charged and ready. I take a deep breath and dial the credit card company. Customer service, this is Andrea. How may I help you today? I clear my throat. I need to report unauthorized charges on my account. I explain the situation clinically, factual surprise by the steadiness in my voice. When I mention the $18,000 charge, Andrea's professional tone shifts. Ms. Sullivan, while I'm reviewing these transactions, I'm noticing something concerning. Her voice drops slightly. There appears to be a pattern of smaller charges from the same authorized user card. My stomach tightens. What do you mean? Andrea details purchases over the past 3 months: coffee shops near my parents' house, gas stations, online retailers I've never used. The total of these additional transactions comes to approximately $2,300. The number hits me like a physical blow. All this time, while I've been meticulously tracking my own spending, they've been helping themselves to more than just emergency funds. I jot down, total unauthorized, $20,300 on my legal pad, the pen pressing hard enough to indent the next 3 pages. Rain pelts my windshield in rhythm with the tears I refuse to acknowledge as I drive to the 17th precinct. Each swipe of the wipers brings momentary clarity before the deluge returns. My phone buzzes constantly in the cup holder, texts, calls, voicemails accumulating like evidence. I haven't answered a single one. Officer Ramirez takes my statement with the efficiency of someone who's heard it all before. Family financial abuse is more common than people realize, she says, sliding the completed report across her desk. Most victims never file. The word victim sticks in my throat. I'm a financial analyst. I should have seen this coming. What happens next? I ask. The detective will review your case. Meanwhile, I recommend placing a freeze on your credit. She hands me a pamphlet on identity theft protection. It's the first wall in your fortress. I nod, tucking the pamphlet into my purse beside the police report. Something about having official documentation makes this real in a way that even the bank statements couldn't. For the first time since yesterday's call, I feel the satisfaction of concrete action amid the emotional storm. Back in my apartment, the blinking light on my landline signals 17 missed calls. I press play on the voicemail, my father's voice filling the room. Laura, your mother hasn't stopped crying since your cruel accusation. Is this how he raised you? To turn on your family? His voice cracks with what sounds like genuine pain. Call us. Now. I delete it without saving and check my phone now. 32 text messages. Most from my parents and Chloe, but some from cousins, aunts, uncles, family members who haven't contacted me in months, suddenly concerned about my behavior. A group text from my extended family reads, "We've always thought you were different from the rest of us. Now we understand why." I open Instagram against my better judgment. Chloe's story shows her tearfully packing away a Japanese travel guide, a bottle of sake, and a small lucky cat figurine. The caption reads, "Dreams crushed by cruel siblings who only care about themselves. Number, heartbroken. Number, betrayed. Number, family trauma." Before I can close the app, a text from my college roommate appears. "Why is your sister saying you're financially abusing your family? Everything okay?" The wall I've built around my emotions begins to crack. They're making me the villain. "My brother did something similar to me last year," Jessica says quietly, perching on the edge of my desk the next morning. I look up from my computer, where I've been staring at the same spreadsheet for 20 minutes. "How did you handle it?" My voice sounds small, even to me. "Boundaries. Hard ones." She squeezes my shoulder. "And therapy. Lots of therapy." Later, my boss notices my distraction during our weekly review. Instead of the reprimand I expect, he closes my office door. "Take the time you need to handle this, Laura. Your work has been exceptional for years. We trust you." That afternoon, my therapist fits me in for an emergency session. Financial boundaries are still boundaries, Dr. Chen reminds me. And they're often the hardest to enforce with family. That evening, my phone rings with a number I haven't seen in years. Michael, my childhood friend, from 3 doors down. "I saw Chloe's posts," he says without preamble. "Wanted to check if you're okay." Something breaks loose inside me at the simple question. For the first time, I tell someone the whole story without justification or apology. And Michael just listens. "I believe you," he says when I finish. The relief of those 3 words is staggering. Later that night, I create a new spreadsheet. Column A, date. Column B, amount. Column C, purpose. Column D, repaid. I document everything $7,000 for Chloe's essential laptop and her study abroad weekend that somehow wasn't covered by her full scholarship. $3,200 for mom's emergency dental work that insurance wouldn't cover. Countless dinners, gifts, and small loans that evaporated without acknowledgement. The pattern emerges in black and white. Years of financial exploitation disguised as family obligation. The total at the bottom of the spreadsheet, $41,256, represents nearly 2 years of careful saving gone. I draft an email to my entire family, attaching both the spreadsheet and the police report. "This behavior stops now," I write. "The charges must be reversed within 48 hours, or I will proceed with pressing formal charges. This is non-negotiable." My finger hovers over the send button, with the weight of family obligation heavy on my shoulders. My gaze drifts to the small frame on my bookshelf me at graduation. Pride in my eyes despite standing alone while my family attended Chloe's dance recital. I hit send, then methodically block every family contact. Just temporarily, I tell myself. just until I can think clearly again. For the first time in years, the silence feels like freedom. My phone buzzes at 6:02 a.m., yanking me from sleep. An unknown number. I squint at the screen, heart already racing before I'm fully awake. Check your social media. See what kind of daughter you really are. I sit up, suddenly alert. Something in the pit of my stomach drops as I open Instagram. Mom's profile appears at the top of my feed with a new post that already has 73 comments. Her smiling face looks out from the photo, eyes glistening with what I recognize as her camera ready, tears the ones that appear on command whenever she needs to make a point. My daughter has broken my heart, reads the caption. After everything we've sacrificed for her success, Laura has chosen money over family. A mother should never have to feel this betrayal. My thumbs shake as I scroll through the comments. Aunt Susan, we always knew she was different from the rest of the family. Too focused on herself. Uncle Dave, shameful behavior to treat your parents this way. Cousins, I haven't spoken to in years, suddenly experts on my character. Below Mom's post are screenshots, carefully edited conversations that omit her demands and highlight my boundaries, making me sound cold and calculating. I recognize pieces of text from months ago, stitched together to create a narrative that never existed. A notification pops up. Chloe has posted a TikTok that's already gathering views. I tap it against my better judgment. My sister reported me to the police over a graduation gift. She sobs into the camera, mascara artfully smudged. All I wanted was to see Japan after working so hard for my degree. Now she's trying to have my parents arrested for credit card fraud. The room spins as I close the app. I've never filed charges against them, only reported the unauthorized transaction to my credit card company. But truth isn't the point here. Control is. The office feels different when I walk in conversations that halt mid-sentence, gazes that drop when I look up. Jessica from accounting gives me a tight smile as she passes my desk, the only person who acknowledges me directly all morning. Laura? My boss appears at my cubicle, expression careful. HR would like a word when you have a moment. In the sterile conference room, HR Director Maureen slides a printout across the table. It's Chloe's viral post now with over 40,000 views where she specifically mentioned my company name. Can we discuss the social media situation affecting our company image? Maureen's voice is professionally neutral, but her eyes reflect genuine concern. I'm sorry this has affected the company. I say, my voice steadier than I feel. My sister's claims are false. I reported unauthorized use of my credit card. I never pressed charges against my family. Maureen nods. We need to be prepared if journalists call. Several comments tag our corporate accounts. My stomach clenches. I hadn't considered how this might impact my career. The one thing I built entirely on my own terms. Later, during our team meeting, I feel eyes on me as I present the quarterly projections. My voice doesn't waver, but inside I'm crumbling. Then Jessica speaks up after a colleague makes a vague reference to personal drama. I think we should focus on Laura's excellent report instead of enabling what is clearly personal harassment, she says firmly. What her family is doing online wouldn't be acceptable from any other source. It shouldn't be acceptable from family either. The room falls silent. Our manager clears his throat and redirects to the next agenda item. But Jessica's words hang in the air, the first public defense of my boundaries anyone has offered. That evening, an email notification appears. Fraud investigation case number 4572. Determination. My hand shakes so badly I have to set the phone down on my kitchen counter before I can tap to open it. Dear Miss Sullivan, our investigation into the unauthorized transactions on your account has been completed. After thorough review of the evidence provided and transaction patterns, we have determined that all claim charges totaling $20,300 were indeed made without proper authorization. These charges have been reversed to your account effective immediately. We have also added additional security protocols as requested. Should you wish to pursue further legal action, please retain this determination letter for your records. I read it 3 times, sitting motionless at my kitchen table. $20,300 more than the $18,000 Japan trip. I found other charges I hadn't even noticed. The validation washes over me like a wave. An objective third party has confirmed what my family has been gaslighting me about for days. I'm not crazy. I'm not selfish. I'm not overreacting. I'm right. You were dead to me. My mother's voicemail plays through my therapist's office speaker. Dr. Winters doesn't flinch as Mom's voice escalates from cold fury to theatrical sobs. After everything we've done for you, the sacrifices, your father and I went without so many times to give you opportunities, and this is how you repay family loyalty? With theft accusations? Dr. Winters raises an eyebrow. Interesting use of the word theft. I nod, having caught the same projection. The email from my father was worse. He's threatening legal action for defamation if I don't withdraw the fraud claim. Do you feel physically safe? Dr. Winters asks. The question startles me. Yes. They've never been physically abusive, just financially and emotionally manipulative. That's good. But manipulators often escalate when their usual tactics stop working. She makes a note. Your aunt has been calling mutual friends, warning them about my supposed mental breakdown, I confirm. And Chloe's posts have shifted from tears to rage. Yesterday she wrote that I chose money over family, and that I've always been jealous of her. As I speak, my phone lights up with a text from a number I don't recognize. Laura, it's cousin Rachel. I need to tell you something. They did the same thing to me 3 years ago. Used my card for Aunt Susan's cruise. $7,000. When I confronted them, they did exactly what they're doing to you. I backed down. Don't make my mistake. I show Dr. Winters the message, something tight in my chest loosening slightly. I'm not the only one. The knock on my apartment door comes just after 8 p.m. I check the peephole. It's Michael, my friend since high school, holding a bag of takeout from our favorite Thai place. Thought you might not want to cook tonight, he says when I open the door. Or go out where people might have seen those posts. Thank you. The simple kindness nearly breaks me. While we eat pad thai at my small dining table, Michael pulls out his phone. I found these screenshots from when your mom asked to borrow my credit card last year, he says, sliding the phone toward me. I'd forgotten until I saw what's happening with you. The texts show Mom asking Michael if she could just borrow his card for a small emergency. When he asked for details, she became evasive, then aggressive when he refused. She did this with other people too. Michael continues, showing me more evidence. He's gathered text messages from mutual acquaintances describing similar patterns, and photos of Chloe's previous surprise gifts that others had unknowingly funded. I thought I was their only ATM, I whisper. Not even close. He squeezes my hand. You're just the first one to stand up to them. That night, I delete all social media apps from my phone. The relief is immediate, like putting down a heavy weight I've been carrying for days. The next morning, I visit a new bank across town and open separate accounts unconnected to any of my previous ones. The banker helps me set up additional security measures that would prevent anyone from accessing my accounts without in-person verification. I've booked you with our financial advisor tomorrow, the banker says. He specializes in situations like yours. Situations like mine? Her eyes are kind but direct. Financial boundary setting with family. It's unfortunately more common than people realize. At work, Jessica has organized an informal support lunch for family financial boundary setting. 4 other colleagues show up, each with their own story of financial manipulation by relatives. My brother cleaned out my savings for his startup, admits Mark from legal. My parents remortgaged their house in my name, shares Aisha from marketing. We exchange stories and strategies, resources and recommendations. For the first time in weeks, I feel less alone. That night, I fall asleep without checking my phone, without making mental lists of defenses, without rehearsing justifications. I sleep through until morning, the first full night's rest since the ordeal began. When I wake, I feel something I haven't experienced in a long time. The quiet strength of knowing I've done the right thing, regardless of who understands. My phone vibrates with a notification, an email from an unfamiliar address, but the subject line stops my breath. Secret from Chloe, don't let Mom and Dad know. Laura's family never expected their financial abuse to be exposed so publicly. But as they scramble to control the narrative, an unexpected message arrives that will turn their manipulation tactics upside down. What evidence has Chloe been hiding, and why is she suddenly reaching out to Laura in secret? My phone buzzes on the kitchen counter as I'm measuring coffee grounds for tomorrow morning's brew, a small ritual that's become part of my healing. A glance at the screen makes my hand freeze mid-scoop. Message request from unknown number. I tap it open, expecting another anonymous relative eager to tell me how I've destroyed the family. It's Chloe. Can we talk privately? Please don't tell Mom and Dad. The coffee grounds scatter across the counter as my hand jerks in surprise. After 2 weeks of public attacks, the tearful TikToks, the edited screenshots, the accusations, this feels like another trap. I place both palms flat against the cool granite, steadying myself. My therapist's words echo. You get to decide who has access to you now. After 10 minutes of deliberation, I respond, video call, 30 minutes. I'll end it immediately if it becomes manipulative. When my laptop screen illuminates with the incoming call, I barely recognize the face that appears. Chloe's trademark perfect makeup is gone. Her eyes are red-rimmed and puffy, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail instead of her usual polished waves. Thanks for answering. Her voice is small, nothing like the confident performer from her viral videos. I say nothing, waiting. The silence stretches between us like a tightrope. I didn't know, she finally whispers, eyes darting away from the camera. About your card. They told me you had agreed to it, that you wanted to give me this special graduation gift. And you believe that? The words come out sharper than intended. Yes. She meets my gaze now, because that's what they've always told me, that you wanted to help, that you were happy to do it. That's what they've been telling us both for years, different versions of the same lie. Something shifts in my chest, a crack in the wall I've built between us. I'm starting to see how they use this against each other, she continues. It's always been Laura thinks, or Chloe said, when neither of us actually did. She reaches for something off screen, then holds up her phone, displaying a screenshot. I found this when I was helping Mom look for a receipt. She left her banking app open. The image shows a credit card statement with a $4,000 balance at 24.99% interest. Minimum payments for months. Then another screenshot, and another. 5 maxed out cards. A mortgage payment marked late in angry red letters. A statement from a gambling app with Dad's name, buried under the category business expenses. They've been living beyond their means for years, Laura, and teaching me to do the same. The final image makes my blood run cold. A credit card statement in our grandmother's name, opened 6 months after she died. Mom said it was a mistake by the bank, Chloe explains, her voice hollow. I believed her. A notification pops up on Chloe's screen. She angles it away, but not before I glimpse our mother's name. I got my first job last week, she says, a flicker of pride crossing her face. At that coffee shop near campus, they were furious, said I was wasting my potential, that I should be holding out for a marketing director position. The absurdity of this expectation of our parents' perpetual disconnect from reality hits us simultaneously. For the first time in years, we share a genuine laugh. I'm apartment hunting too, Chloe continues. Nothing fancy, just a room in a shared place in Astoria. Mom must love that, I say, remembering my own apartment hunt years ago. Chloe rolls her eyes. She said it would ruin my personal brand, whatever that means. She pulls up her phone again, but this time shows me a budgeting app with carefully categorized expenses. I'm trying to learn what you knew all along. Her phone begins buzzing incessantly. Multiple texts light up the screen. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? Are you with her? Followed by a call from our father that she declines. 10 seconds later, a text appears. If you're choosing sides, don't expect us to pay your rent anymore. Chloe meets my eyes, and I see something new, their determination. I'm figuring it out on my own now. She smiles, small, certain. The familiarity of the ultimatum strikes us both. We exchange a look of recognition, the same tactics, just different targets. I can help you set up separate accounts, I offer, ones they can't access. For the next hour, we work methodically. I walk her through securing her finances, deleting their location tracking apps, and documenting everything. We even create a code word for emergency communications, pineapple, random enough that our parents would never guess its significance. Document everything, I tell her. Trust actions, not promises. As our call nears its end, Chloe's expression grows serious. I'm sorry, Laura. I believed what they said about you because it was easier than seeing the truth. I study my sister's face, really seeing her perhaps for the first time as a separate person from our parents' narratives. Financial independence is the first step to all other freedoms. I tell her, then add softly, we were both manipulated, just in different ways. The bridge between us, damaged for so long, begins its fragile reconstruction, built on the unexpected foundation of shared truth. The lobby of my apartment building usually offers a respite transition space between work pressures and home comfort. Not today. My parents' unmistakable silhouettes wait by the mailboxes, Mom's nervous hands fidgeting with her purse strap, Dad's shoulders squared in that stance he adopts before business negotiations. My stomach drops. I consider turning around, but the doorman has already seen me. Too late. Laura. Dad steps forward, voice pitched low but carrying. We need to talk about what you've done to this family. I clench my jaw, fingers tightening around my leather portfolio. This isn't the place. Mom rushes toward me, tears already streaming. She's wearing her good cashmere sweater, the one reserved for country club brunches and parent-teacher conferences. Please, she pleads, looking directly at Jorge, our doorman. We just want to speak to our daughter. Jorge glances my way, concerned. We've exchanged morning greetings for 3 years, but he's never seen my family, never witnessed this particular drama. Dad moves closer, invading my space with cologne and intimidation. His business negotiation voice emerges reasonable tone, unreasonable words. Your mother hasn't slept in weeks. The least you could do is give us 15 minutes. I take a deliberate step back. I'm not discussing this here. Email me to schedule a mediated conversation. After everything we've done for you. Mom's voice rises sharply, drawing the attention of Mrs. Kapoor from 5B, who slows her stride to witness the unfolding scene. Like using my credit card without permission for $18,000? The words emerge with unexpected steadiness. 2 residents waiting for the elevator turn toward us. Dad's expression shifts instantly, his hand closing around Mom's elbow. Lower your voice, he hisses. People are listening. I meet his gaze directly. I'm not the one who should be embarrassed by this conversation. Something flickers across his face, the unfamiliar realization that his control tactics have lost their power. It's the same expression he wore when I was 12, and suddenly too tall for him to intimidate physically. My phone vibrates in my pocket as I step around them toward the elevator. A text from Chloe. They just called asking for money. I said no for the first time ever. A strange lightness fills my chest. The elevator doors close on my parents' stunned faces. By evening, the family system is cracking under the weight of exposed truth. My laptop screen glows with an email from Aunt Susan. Is it true about the credit card? We need to talk. Uncle Bob's name appears on my ringing phone. I answer cautiously. Your parents asked to borrow against our home equity line, he says without greeting. When I declined, your mother mentioned you've been causing problems. That's one interpretation, I reply, staring at the horizon outside my window. The sun sets earlier now, painting Manhattan in amber light. Well, Miranda's version doesn't add up. Susan and I have questions. My cousin's text arrives while I'm still on the call. They're telling everyone you're having a breakdown and need to be hospitalized. Just wanted you to know. The old Laura would have panicked. This new version feels oddly calm. Your boundaries are appropriate and necessary, my financial advisor confirms during our weekly check-in. Her office overlooks Bryant Park, where people linger in the late afternoon sunshine. My family disagrees. I say, watching a young couple spread a picnic blanket below. They would. She adjusts her glasses, steel gray hair catching the light. Financial abusers rarely applaud their victims for establishing limits. The word still makes me flinch. Victim. But my therapist has connected me with a support group where I've heard stories eerily similar to mine. Different families, identical patterns. At work, HR called me in yesterday. We've implemented new privacy protections, the director explained, sliding a document across her desk. After your experience, we realized our policies needed updating. No one can call claiming a family emergency without verification now. My boss surprised me with an unexpected raise later that afternoon. Your work has been exceptional despite personal challenges, he said simply. That demonstrates character. The envelope from my parents' lawyer arrives certified mail. The cease and desist letter inside is printed on expensive letterhead, full of hollow threats about defamation and family privacy. My own attorney reads it with the calm bemusement of someone holding a child's crayon drawing of a monster. This has no legal standing, she explains, setting it aside. It's intimidation, not law. We spend the next hour drafting our response-y, concise document outlining the financial abuse and prohibiting contact regarding money. Each paragraph adds another brick to the wall of protection I'm building. That evening, I install a security camera beside my apartment door. The small device blinks green, its presence oddly comforting. The weight of years being my family's ATM lifts with each external structure supporting my internal boundaries. Chloe stands in the center of her new studio apartment, arms spread wide. It's tiny, but it's mine. The space is in an unfashionable neighborhood our mother would deem beneath a Sullivan. The furniture is mostly secondhand. The smile on my sister's face is priceless. Let's set up your budget, I suggest, opening my laptop at her small kitchen table. We create columns for essentials, savings, and a modest want section that feels revolutionary after years of her unchecked spending. Thursday evenings, Chloe says decisively. That's when we'll do our weekly financial check-ins. After my shift at Marshall's. I nod, marveling at this new version of my sister who schedules budget reviews and works retail without complaint. The marketing firm internship starts next month, but she insisted on having income immediately. When her first paycheck arrives, she sends me a photo with a caption, "I've never felt prouder of earning my own money." I ship her a small package in return. Inside is a simple frame containing a quote in elegant script. "Your worth isn't measured by your wallet." Her tearful video call comes that evening. "I'm framing my first pay stub too," she says, "side by side with your gift." For the first time in memory, I see my sister clearly not as the favored child or the financial burden, but as a young woman finding her footing in an unsteady world. Just like me. 6 months after discovering her family's $18,000 theft, Laura faces the ultimate test of her new boundaries. As she rebuilds her life on her own terms, will she find forgiveness or freedom more valuable? And what unexpected lesson does she learn about the true meaning of family? The sage bundle crackles as I wave it through my apartment, aromatic smoke curling toward the ceiling. 6 months ago, this ritual would have seemed ridiculous to me, spiritual, too unquantifiable. But healing doesn't always fit neatly into spreadsheets. I set the sage in its abalone shell and step back to admire the wall that once displayed family photos. Now my own travel photography hangs there, sunset over Brooklyn Bridge, morning fog in the Adirondacks, a solitary bench in Central Park after rain, places where I found pieces of myself again. My phone chimes with Chloe's custom ringtone, Independent Women. A small joke between us now. "Hey," I answer, curling into my window seat overlooking the bustling street below. "How'd the meeting go?" "I got the promotion." Chloe's voice brims with genuine pride. "Full benefits, 401 matching, the works." "That's fantastic. Did you negotiate like we practiced?" "Asked for exactly 10% above their offer." They didn't even hesitate. We slip into easy conversation about her new responsibilities. No tension hovers between us when she mentions setting up automatic deposits to her emergency fund. The weight of unspoken financial expectations no longer hangs in the silence. This morning I closed the last bank account with my parents' names attached. The banker hadn't understood why such a simple transaction made me smile. How could he know that each signature represented another strand of invisible obligation severed? My laptop sits open on the coffee table, displaying the spreadsheet that once tracked family debts. Now it monitors therapy progress sessions attended, boundary victories, anxiety triggers identified and diffused. The column marked Thailand Fund shows 100% completion. 3 weeks of solo travel beginning next month. My credit score now, 796. Up 40 points from before the $18,000 incident glows from the screen. When my phone rings with unknown numbers these days, my hand no longer trembles, my stomach no longer knots. Another small freedom. The notification on my financial blog shows 500 new subscribers this week. Setting boundaries without guilt has resonated more than I expected. Yesterday, I led my first community workshop on the same topic. 20 women watched me explain concepts I'd learned through FIRE. The difference between generosity and exploitation. How to recognize financial manipulation. My investment portfolio notification appears sub 12% since redirecting funds that once disappeared into family emergencies. Part of those gains are already earmarked for the Financial Abuse Awareness Foundation. Donation next month. You've helped more people than you realize. Jessica told me over mimosas at our standing Sunday brunch with friends, my chosen family. She brought along a colleague whose parents had remortgaged their house using her information. The man I've been dating for 2 months noticed it first. "You walk differently now," he said last night. "Like you're carrying less." He's right. It shows in my posture during client presentations, the certainty in my voice when saying both yes and no based on values, not guilt. My meditation cushion by the window shows the wear of daily use. In my journal, I write, "Today marks 1 year since I chose myself." The word steady, not apologetic. From Elizabeth Sullivan. Subject, I'm sorry. My mother's email arrives without physical warning signs, no racing heart, no shallow breathing. Progress. I recognize the telltale phrases, "Sorry you felt hurt," instead of "Sorry I hurt you." My response is simple. "Thank you for reaching out. I need more time." The laptop closes with a gentle click. No urgency to fix or explain. Later, Chloe and I meet at our favorite bistro, windows open to spring air. "Mom and Dad started financial counseling," she says. "The bank made it mandatory after the fraud investigations." I feel genuine joy watching her confidently manage the check, her growing independence, the greatest gift from this painful year. To building the lives we choose, I raise my glass, not the ones we inherit. Evening finds me on my balcony. City lights shimmering. Below, a woman walks quickly, shoulders hunched under invisible burdens. A year ago, that was me, a financial victim, rather than the advocate I've become. My phone lights up. First donation to the Financial Education Scholarship Fund I established last week. I smile, watching the city pulse below. The most expensive lesson I ever received was worth every penny.